Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Press Start. This week, to be honest, it was a pretty light week, but Eric and I, we are really excited to talk to you about a couple things that we thought were very noteworthy. And here we are with those things. Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah, so there's not too much stuff going on in the world of gaming right now, at least for a little while. I know Capcom is having an event soon, and I think Gamescom is going to be having an event in August, I believe. But in terms of those, other gaming companies are announcing things kind of sporadically, just out of the blue. So yeah, we're just going to be talking about a few new game updates, as well as some show developments, especially relating to DC Comics specifically.
That's right.
So I guess for one of the more bigger updates and one of the most popular games in the world, that being Minecraft. Minecraft recently had its one of its biggest updates, I would say, with that of the Tricky Trials update. And with Tricky Trials, as the name suggests, it focuses on these new trial areas that can be found in worlds. Yeah, like tricks. Like you can do like parkour. But so basically with Tricky Trials, there are these new kind of dungeons that spawn underground, and they're very hard to find. Like the only way you can find them is either just stumbling upon them while mining, or by getting a treasure map from a wandering villager, I believe. And once you find these trials, you find these trial chambers, and they're small, well, I would say medium-sized dungeons that are filled with copper, like iodized copper, where it's like just, the regular orange copper, or it has like green copper. And in these trials, or these chambers, I should say, you can fight a bunch of waves of mobs, and there's two new mobs that were introduced that you can fight against. One of them is the Bogged, which is basically a skeleton that shoots poison arrows. And I believe these skeletons can also be found in the swamp biome as well. So you have to watch out for those. So make sure you bring buckets of milk when you're going down these chambers, because that's the way you get rid of poison in Minecraft, if you didn't know.
This is also wild to me. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. You're like buckets of milk. What do you? This is all lost on me. So I'm not the target audience for this update.
I mean, it's pretty fun so far. I played a little bit of it. And the other mob, probably one of the more interesting mobs, is the Breeze, which I kind of describe as a sort of cloud ghost mob. And
I was gonna say, that sounds very relaxing.
It's not, though. It's actually it's pretty annoying. It's basically what it is. It's this like cloud ghost looking mob that runs around in like a small little tornado, and it can jump high, and it moves all over the dungeon, and also throws wind charges at people, launching people into the air or onto walls and stuff. And I believe the only way you can attack them is using a tool like a sword. Like you can't shoot arrows at them, so they're pretty hard to take down. But once you defeat these waves of mobs, you get rewarded with special items in these vaults. And one of the items you can find are these ominous bottles. And then when you can drink one of those, and those will start ominous trials. And once you beat those, you can unlock materials needed to create the latest new weapon in Minecraft, which is the mace. In the mace, in order to build the mace, you need to get the item that can only be found in ominous vaults, as well as items dropped from breezes, and then you can make the mace. So you can't just make it out of like iron or diamond or gold. And the mace is actually the most powerful tool in Minecraft. Like it's said that you can take down an Ender Dragon in like 5 hits or something like that.
Wow.
And it has a ton of new enchantments. Like one of the enchantments is that it increases the amount of damage it does the farther you drop. Like, let's say you build a tower of wooden planks and you see like a witch at the bottom of your tower. If you like drop from like 7 blocks or something using the mace, it'll like instantly kill the witch. And another enchantment is that it can get, I forget what it's called. I think it's Wind Burst. Basically, every time you use the mace's like secondary attack, it'll cause a small burst of wind, allowing you to either push enemies back like the breeze does, or you can use it to jump up higher to get to places easier or to avoid enemies. And that's pretty much the majority of or at least the major new additions to Minecraft. There's a bunch of new building blocks with copper and stuff, and a bunch of decals for armor. But that's pretty much it. I know a lot of fans were expecting some other mobs to be added to this, such as the Illager Illusioner, which is basically like a wizard enemy, but that's still not added to the game. And I know some people were also wanting an update to the Badlands biome, but that still has not been updated. So maybe the next big update will add those. We'll just have to wait and see.
All right. Wow. That sounds like pretty cool stuff coming to Minecraft. So that's really exciting. Congratulations to the Minecraft crowd.
Yeah.
So the game that I wanted to talk about this week is a game that I've been playing for a bit now. It's called Pokemon Unite. And what Pokemon Unite is, it's a 5-on-5 MOBA, a massive online battle arena type game where you pick various Pokemon. It's a typical kind of a MOBA thing. This is the first, I keep calling it a MOBA, but I think it's, I don't want to say a hybrid, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm not big on games like League of Legends or World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft, my goodness. So I never got into any of those games when they first launched, when they were, I mean, they're still arguably, in my opinion, very, very popular.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I never got on the hype, and I'm not a PC gamer, and those games are mainly on PC, so that's mostly why they never attracted me. Also, the top-down style, what is it? Yeah, like that third-person type view, that bird's eye kind of a view.
Yeah, I always call it bird's eye view, yeah.
Yeah, that also never appealed to me either. That always, honestly, I don't like it. Like, in some games, it can be fine, but there was a lot going on. The screens just always looked very busy, and yeah. I felt like I'd just get lost in the shuffle of so much going on. But Pokemon Unite came out a few years ago now. It's been going strong. They've had regular updates to the game, different balance patches, tons of new Pokemon have been introduced to the game. And this year, it's going to be its 3rd anniversary. The 3rd anniversary takes place on 1st of this year. And there were leaks. There's always leaks for this game, so it's not really that big of a surprise. But the biggest leak the latest leak that's come about is the latest Pokemon that's coming to the game, and I'm very, very excited about the latest Pokemon. It's a Ho-Oh. It's the mythical bird Ho-Oh. It's a fire type. I don't think that's relevant, but
it's fire flying. Yeah.
Yeah, fire flying, but that doesn't really have anything to do like with the Pokemon in the actual game. There are various roles within Pokemon Unite. You can have an attacker, a defender, an all-rounder, and a supporter. I believe that's. Oh, and a speedster. That's right. They knew there was missing one. Speedster. So Ho-Oh is going to be a defender, and I'm really excited about that because I love playing defense. And I also like playing support roles, but there aren't very many Pokemon in Pokemon Unite that I would want to play that are dedicated supporters. Sableye is one, but anyway, Ho is going to be a defender in the game, and I'm saying he as if it has a. I'm gonna edit that out. Anyway, the Pokemon, it's going to be a defender. It's an EX Pokemon, which means that it won't be once you hit a certain rank within the game. Once you hit Masters, they kind of it's a little wonky with some of the Pokemon because it's a legendary. There are certain Pokemon that are, like I said, like EX Pokemon, which would be Mewtwo X and Y, because that's a legendary. Zacian, that's also a legendary Pokemon that's in the game. Miraidon is another legendary Pokemon. So all the legendaries are usually EX Pokemon because they're like kind of busted. Yeah. If we're being honest.
Overpowered.
They're pretty OP, overpowered, as Eric said. And so there's different guidelines to be able to use them for online. But the thing that I'm just really excited that this Pokemon's coming to the game because I love Ho as a Pokemon just generally, even outside of Pokemon Unite. I'm really excited that it's a defender because again, that is my favorite. That's my favorite class to play. So really excited for that. Ho is going to be coming to Pokemon Unite per game. 8.co, the website says July 19th. So that's going to be a couple days before the actual anniversary. And I believe that they're planning a battle pass around this Pokemon. So yeah, all cool things for Pokemon Unite. They're actually in the middle of another season, I believe season 21 right now. And they actually just had another Pokemon come to Pokemon Unite. It's what is it? It is I'm gonna butcher the name, but Crudurlige. It's one of the it's a Pokemon that has swords for hands. If you're wondering, it's blue and it has swords for hands. It's one of the newer ones. It's from the newest generation, from Scarlet and Violet, and honestly, it looks pretty sick. I'm looking at it right now. It's blue. If you know what Mega Man NT Warrior is, it's like the newer, well, quote unquote newer. It's not really old, but it's after Mega Man X. But it kind of looks like Mega Man.
Okay,
like two swords.
I think I know the Pokemon you're talking about.
Yeah, and then there's another one. It's a fire type, and it's like, the opposite, but like it's orange. And this Pokemon, it's a all-rounder. There's a lot of all-rounders within the game, which makes sense. But yeah, cool stuff for Pokemon Unite. And Eric, I believe you mentioned DC in the beginning. So what announcement did you want to bring to the show? So
recently, and this is according to Deadline, I believe, who initially reported it. HBO, with the channel, not the streaming service, has officially ordered the Lantern show, the Green Lantern show, to begin production. And it's kind of surprising that it's just going to be on HBO, like it's not on Max. I mean, I'm sure eventually it'll be on Max, but it's kind of weird it's not just going to be directly streaming on there. I'm not sure why. But it's been a long time coming because this show was first announced back in 2019, and it's gone through a lot of concepts. Like originally it was going to be a sort of anthology show with different episodes focusing on different lanterns. I believe like the original concept was like one episode was going to focus on Guy Gardner, Green Lantern. Another one was going to focus on Alan Scott, Green Lantern. But now, like, since it's gone through so many producers and stuff over the years and been redesigned, now it's just going to be called simply Lanterns. I don't know why, but I guess to make Green Lantern just don't sound as interesting, I guess.
I think Lantern sounds pretty cool.
I think so, but I guess maybe they want people to be like, don't think about the Ryan Reynolds movie. It's just lanterns, not.
Honestly, that didn't even come to my mind. So that's really funny that you're telling me that.
Yeah, I mean, because a lot of people, even Ryan Reynolds himself loved to joke about that movie and everything. I thought it was fine. It wasn't amazing, but it was okay. But yeah, the new show, there's not a lot of story details about it yet. But we know that it's going to be starring Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, and Jon Stewart, Green Lantern, as buddy cops, basically, because that's what Green Lanterns are. They're space cops. And they said they're going to be space cops. They said they're going to be dealing with an original detective story. So they're probably going to be investigating some kind of mystery. But that's the only story details we know. But it is going to be part of James Gunn's new rebooted DC cinematic universe, I guess you can call it. Which is set to begin next year.
Is this going to be animated?
No, it's live action.
If you mentioned that prior, I'm going to take that question out.
Okay. But yeah, it's a live action show. But we don't know any of the cast members yet. And we still don't really know any direct details. Like, we don't know if it's going to be taking place primarily on Earth, if it's going to be taking place around the same time as the Superman movie, or if it's going to be taking place in space, or maybe a balance of both.
That'd be cool if it was a balance of both.
I hope so. Because that's one thing I didn't really like about Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern movie is how it was stuck on Earth so much of the time, which I get. It's easier to film, a real place instead of spending so much money developing a fake world. But one thing that is kind of interesting, they did already announce that another Green Lantern is going to be appearing in the same cinematic universe in James Gunn's Superman movie, which is coming out next year. And that's Guy Gardner. He's like the third Earth Green Lantern. And he's being played by Nathan Fillion, which, on a personal side, I would have cast him as an older Hal Jordan, but that's just my opinion. But we don't know who's going to be playing Hal Jordan or Jon Stewart yet. Some people believe, because a lot of the pictures that have been going with this announcement, they've been using pictures from the book Green Lantern Earth 1, which I think is particularly interesting because Green Lantern Earth 1, for those of you guys who don't know, Earth 1 is like a imprint of DC Comics where it's a more realistic look at classic DC characters set in a different universe. So in Green Lantern Earth 1, it's set like hundreds of years in the future where Earth has been starting to expand its reach to the rest of the planets in the solar system. And like they're mining planets and everything. And the Green Lanterns, they're not like these quote unquote magical space police. Like the rings aren't going to be flying to people's rings and stuff in the Earth 1 story. It's just a literal tool that shoots green lasers and makes green constructs. And Jon Stewart in that story, for one, in that story, the Green Lantern Corps is all dead. So Hal Jordan and some other people that find rings start rebuilding the Corps. But then it's revealed that the Guardians, which in the main universe are the people that oversee the Green Lanterns, in the Earth 1 universe, they're the villains, and they are the ones that actually destroyed the Green Lantern Corps. And eventually one of them makes a new version of the Corps, which is powered by yellow light, and Jon Stewart becomes the Earth Yellow Lantern. So I don't know why they're using those pictures for a lot of the announcement for this show, because I think that'd be kind of confusing for some fans if they base the new main Green Lantern like for shows or anything really based on that. Like Green Lantern Earth 1's a great story. I just think it's kind of weird if they're going that route for adapting it.
Yeah.
And they did say too that there's no directors for the show yet, but it is being co-written by legendary DC Comics writer Tom King, who you might have known. He's written For Marvel specifically, he wrote the Vision comic, which was the direct influence for the show WandaVision. He also wrote the award-winning comic Mr. Miracle. He also wrote Strange Adventures, Sheriff of Babylon. He hasn't written a lot of Green Lantern. He's written one Green Lantern book called The Omega Men, which was a sort of analogy for the war in the Middle East. And it only had one Green Lantern, which is Kyle Rayner, who hasn't even been mentioned in the show. I don't think he's going to appear in it at all, although it would be surprising if he did. So I think it's kind of interesting they have Tom King writing it. I think they only chose him, though, because originally, because of his success with Mr. Miracle, he was going to be making a Fourth World movie for the DC universe, but that got canceled. So I think DC and Warner Brothers are like, sorry, we canceled your project. You can co-write Green Lantern for us. And it's like, okay. So I'm pretty excited. I'm a little bit nervous. For those of you guys who are listening, I'm actually wearing a Green Lantern hat and a Blue Lantern shirt.
Eric is a very, very big Green Lantern fan. He is the biggest Green Lantern fan that I know.
Yeah, I love Green Lantern. Like, I have a whole library full of the books and everything. The books are way better than the movies. Although the Green Lantern animated show is great too. Like, that's a great show. And like, they haven't talked about if other Lantern Corps are going to show up in this movie. I wouldn't be surprised if at least the Yellow Lanterns do, because those are always like the common enemy for the Lanterns. But I'm a bit nervous. I mean, a lot of people, DC has been very against Green Lantern anything ever since the movie. Like, they never appeared in the CW universe, except for, I think, Alan Scott appeared at one point, but he's a magic Green Lantern, not like the space Green Lanterns. And that even in the movies, like in the Snyderverse, there was only ever one Green Lantern, and he got immediately killed by Darkseid, and his ring just killed itself basically, and they never showed up again. So I hope it does well, because I feel like if it doesn't do well, then Warner Brothers is just going to be like, okay, Green Lantern's a dead entity. We're not going to do anything with it anymore. So
I think this has the potential to be good. I've always thought that DC personally does animation a lot better than Marvel, and the other way around, where Marvel does live action a lot better than DC. But I've checked out of Marvel, like almost everyone has. After Endgame, it was kind of like, okay, like I watched some of the shows and stuff like that. But I am excited. I am excited to see what's next for the Green Lantern, and honestly, I'm excited to see what James Gunn has planned for the rest of DC in terms of live action stuff. Because personally, it's tough. It's tough because two of my favorite superheroes come from either side. So I don't want to say that I like one more than the other, but like, if I'm really being honest, if I had to really choose, then I'd probably say I like DC a little bit better than Marvel personally. But that's just my own silly opinion. But speaking of DC, more DC, we have another show that I'm going to talk about. So this time it's Batman: Caped Crusader.
Asking the question on everyone's mind these days, what do you think about the Batman?
And this has been on my radar personally ever since it was announced. I'm looking at the Batman. I'm looking at the Batman fandom website right now. And it says that this show, it was announced way back in 2021, and I remember it because specifically I pulled it up on my phone and I had the tab open forever, and then I think actually fairly recently I closed it because I'm like, I'm not going to read about this. But very excited for this show. It was announced in 2021. It has Matt Reeves, who directed The Batman, and
Dawn and War for the Planet of the Apes.
That's it. Those two. I think that I think it goes for me in terms of Batman movies. It goes The Batman,
Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight, yeah. The Batman, The Dark Knight, and then Batman and Robin. That is one of my favorite Batman movies. Yes, it was one of the first ones that I saw. Outside of the campy Adam West movies, or Adam West show, and they did like one or two movies or whatever. Probably maybe a little bit more than that. I don't know, but that was my introduction. Not my introduction, but yeah, that was my introduction to Batman. So with the George Clooney Batman, I have a soft spot for him. I know everyone likes to hate on that movie because I think objectively, I think if I'm using that word correctly, it's not that good of a movie, but I like it. The Keaton films never did it for me. I always thought that those were a little too. I didn't really understand what was going on. Like everything looks blue. Like there's like this blue. It looks so dark and wet. I don't know why everything looks wet. I know that the Penguin was in the first movie, correct?
For the Michael Keaton one?
For Batman?
He's in Batman Returns, the second one.
Okay, that's right. Because the first Batman is the Jack Nicholson with the Joker, and the second one is the Penguin. Yeah, so it just looks so dark and not for me. But Clooney Batman all the way. But
it's just surprising because you go with the two most serious Batman movies, and then the most wacky one is your third.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the Batman and Robin is very, very silly and very campy in its own way. Which I like that. I like when there's that. Well, I am just blanking on every single word that I know in my vocabulary. What? Not like
a dichotomy, I guess.
Yes. I like that, where it's like you have Batman who can be very serious, like in The Batman, which I think honestly was a perfect portrayal of Gotham. I feel like we haven't gotten to see the city in that much detail and really get a feel for how the seedy underground and all of that. You don't get that unless you're watching Batman the Animated Series. Mm-hmm. But then on the other hand, I like the campiness of Adam West and the George Clooney type Batman because he is inherently a little bit silly. If you watch the old Justice League cartoons, those are they don't really use their powers at all. Superman uses some of his powers, but a lot of them, it's just a lot of rope, a lot of good timing and whatnot. So I like the juxtaposition. That's the word that I was looking for. Yeah. But this show, it was created by Matt Reeves, who directed The Batman and Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Dawn and War for the Planet of the Apes.
Dawn and War. J.J. Abrams, who doesn't really need any sort of introduction, but he wrote the book S. I know that, and he also wrote. He directed the Force Awakens
and the Rise of Skywalker.
The Rise of Skywalker
and Lost.
Anyway, and Lost. That's true. And Lost. Never saw Lost, but
what? Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, never saw. There's a ton of TV shows I have not seen. The list would honestly shock you. We could have an episode about that. But anyway, and then finally Bruce Timm, who created Batman the Animated Series, which is actually, I'm going to take it back. For me, I was ranking the movies, but in terms of my favorite Batman, it had to be Batman the Animated Series and then all the others. Mm-hmm. But this show, it was originally going to be on HBO Max, but due to the merger between Warner Brothers, then Discovery and all that, it got shopped around, and now it's been picked up by Amazon Prime, and it's been ordered to have 2 seasons. So that's really cool. It's set in the 1940s, so it's kind of from what I saw from the trailer, looks like it's Batman. He isn't established yet. People, they're like, who is this guy? There's this vigilante who's running around taking out criminals. That's not good. So the police don't like him, and he's, kind of getting his footing as Batman. And I'm really excited about it because this is, to me, a lot of editing to do.
Have they
showing
s-
it.
have they said who's playing this new Batman?
Oh, yes. So it is Hamish Linklater.
I've never heard of him.
Never heard of him either.
Hmm.
Did you watch the trailer?
I watched a little bit of it. I know I saw the part where he's like over the Gotham sign, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really cool. It was really cool. Oh, he is an American actor and playwright. Yeah, many people were anticipating what this new Batman would sound like, because for years Kevin Conroy, rest in peace,
Yeah.
is the voice of Batman. He is the definitive voice of Batman. But I will say I am excited to see what Hamish, if I'm pronouncing your name right, forgive me if I am not. I'm excited to see what he brings to the table. I'm willing to give him a chance. A lot of fans are, okay, if it's not Kevin Conroy, then I don't want it. And to me, you have to adapt. Things happen. Things change. People unfortunately pass away, and roles get recast and whatnot. But watching the trailer, it was pretty cool. It was really cool. I really love the art style. To me, it's a mix of somewhat old and new, and kind of like how they did X-Men '97.
Okay.
But not so much with like the whole. Well, it doesn't look so cell shaded.
Okay.
But you can definitely tell that it's dark. It's definitely set like in the 40s, and they're taking a lot of that inspiration from the comics through that. And you can tell that it's not the high tech kind of Batman that we're getting, and this is, I feel like, gonna more focus on the detective type noir stuff. So I'm very, very hyped for this.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of stories it adapts. Because for people who don't know, Batman was actually created in 1939 in Detective Comics. But it took a while for some of his rogues gallery, or what we would consider his rogues gallery today, to appear. I think the Joker appeared early in the 40s. I don't remember what exact year. And Batman was pretty violent when he first came out. Like he would shoot people with guns.
Mm-hmm.
He would like snap people's necks and stuff, which is very different from how most people see Batman today. I don't think we'll be seeing that in this show, but it'll be interesting to see what kind of themes appear. I don't think they'll have appearances from other DC characters in this show. It'd be surprising, but
they're going to have some. So right now, what we do know is that Harley Quinn is in the show.
Oh, really?
And they're doing a different take on her. So Harley Quinn, she was created for the animated series that debuted in the 90s, and her backstory is she's a psychologist or psychiatrist who fell in the animated series. She fell in love with the Joker, and she left her old life behind. She jumped in the vat of acid, dyed her skin white, and more or less went crazy for the Joker. And the rest is history. In the Caped Crusader, what they're doing is they're kind of flipping it. They said that in the animated series, Dr. Harleen Quinzel was the serious doctor, and then the Harley Quinn persona is like the much more goofier, anarchist kind of persona, like the jester, the funny, goofy, whatever. And in the Caped Crusader, they're flipping that. They're saying that, hey, she's kind of lighthearted as a doctor, but then her Harley Quinn persona is much darker and much more sinister. So, you're not going to really see too many laughs or anything like that with this Harley Quinn. Selena Kyle, Catwoman, is in this. Alfred, obviously. I want to say the Penguin It might be. It says here I'm on IGN, and Clayface is in the show.
Oh.
So, the first picture it shows up is the penguin. So we're going to be seeing some familiar faces pop up, definitely. But in terms of like the big iconic one, like the Joker, I don't know if we're gonna see him quite yet. But for now, what we know: Batman, Bruce Wayne, of course, Catwoman, Selena Kyle, Harley Quinn is going to be in it, Commissioner Gordon, of course. And Clayface, as well as Alfred. And this take on Alfred, it's like we mentioned, it's in the 40s, so he's got the stockier build. He's built, he's
like a World War I veteran.
yeah. So that's the Alfred that we're gonna see. So I'm really excited for this take on Batman. This is actually the first animated Batman that I've been excited about in a very long time. So we'll just have to see how it plays out. Yeah. It comes out on August 1st, by the way.
Okay. And then all the episodes are coming out at the same time. Like it's not gonna be like a weekly release.
That I'm not sure of. But I do know that it is going to be 2 seasons, and I believe maybe a little bit more. But we shall see.
Is each episode like a hour long, or is it like a standard animated like 20-minute long kind of situation?
That I'm not sure. Let's see.
Because I mean, like to compare it with like other shows, animated shows on Amazon Prime, probably the most famous one would be Invincible, and I believe those are about 40 minutes long. I believe around somewhere around that length. And it would be interesting, especially since this is it seems to be a more darker take on the Batman story. It'd be interesting to see if it depicts some of that violent gore or violent action that Invincible is so well known for, especially considering it's a Batman show and DC property.
I'm sure they're gonna work it. Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna work it in. I'm sure it's not going to be I'm sure it's not going to be like the animated series that we know, which was pretty dark, if we're being honest. If we're being completely honest, the animated series is a pretty dark show for a kid's show.
Yeah.
I'm looking now, and I'm not seeing anything about length wise in terms of the episode length. So I do not know.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yes, we will. All right. Well, that concludes all the updates that we have for Press Start this week. So let us know down in the comments, because Eric's going to be putting this on YouTube. Let us know what you guys are excited for. Are you excited for Batman the Cape Crusader? Are you excited for Lanterns? What show do you think is going to do better? I'm joking. Are you excited for
probably the Batman show, to be honest?
Yeah, probably Batman, but we'll see. Because only time will tell. Only time will tell.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been Press Start. Tune in next week.
Talk to you later.
Bye, guys.